Did you know that in Racine, Wisconsin, black residents are 12 times more likely to land in prison than white residents? And that a town in Arkansas is home to the modern-day KKK headquarters? Today, we will go over the 10 most racist cities in America to determine which cities are the most racist. We have examined personal experiences shared by many, analyzed the history, amount of hate crimes, racial disparities, and economic statistics of each city. Remember, though, not everyone in these cities is racist. There are many good people, but they just happen to have one too many racist neighbors. 10. Danville, Illinois. In the 1800s and early 1900s, Danville was notorious for racially motivated riots and street fights that often ended in deaths. Example, the 1883 Danville riot. Fast forward to over 100 years later, and while the street fights have ended, racism is still present. In 2022, a group of protesters displayed a White Lives Matter sign the same day a gunman, allegedly fueled by racism, shot 13 people in a supermarket in a predominantly black neighborhood. Racial disparities. 75% of white families in Danville are homeowners, but only 31% of black families own their homes. 20% of white families live below the poverty line, while nearly 50% of black families are below that line. Personal experience. A person of color visiting Danville with their family reported on TripAdvisor, laughed. I said, they stole my $150 deposit and told us our kind wasn't welcome. Very rude workers, very racist, and need to be shut down. 9. Rochester, New York. In July 2022, a wealthy couple in Rochester was accused of throwing a racist party. Racial disparities. African American children are more than 4 times as likely to be in poverty compared to white children. Latino children experience poverty at over 3.5 times the rate of white children. In Monroe County, your chance of dying before 65 is 46% higher if you're black, 52% higher if Latini, and only 26% higher if you're white. 8. Fresno, California. California is home to 74 hate groups, making it the state with the most hate groups in the USA, and Fresno is one of its cities. Over the last 2 decades, 75% of hate-driven crimes in Fresno County, 268 out of 355, occurred in Fresno, with the majority fueled by racism. Economic divide, Yamass Cosmologian degrees. South Fresno, lower income, higher poverty rate. 33.19% of black residents live below the poverty line compared to just 13.76% of white residents. 7. Trenton, New Jersey. Racial profiling. In March 2022, an unarmed black man named Jajuan R. Henderson was shot and paralyzed by officers while grabbing an iced tea from a car. Systemic racism during the pandemic. Studies show that Hispanic New Jerseyans were most likely to contract the virus, and black New Jerseyans were more likely to die or be hospitalized than other residents. These disparities persist due to systemic racism deeply rooted in Trenton's institutions. 6. Peoria, Illinois. Racism is at an all-time high in Peoria, as demonstrated by an assistant fire chief caught on camera using a racial slur. The president of an insurance company posting a racist comment about the Super Bowl halftime show. Economic divide. Most black residents live in the south side of Peoria, an area with lower income. Only 32.6% of black residents own homes compared to 76.1% of white residents. Positive change. Mayor Rita Ali supports the activities of the Joint Commission on Racial Justice and Equity, aiming to promote racial justice and equity in Peoria's city government. 5. Racine, Wisconsin. Prison disparity. Black residents in Racine are 12 times more likely to land in prison than white residents. Experts argue these deep disparities result from racial bias in the state's criminal justice system. Educational inequality. Nearly every year, students of color at Racine Lutheran High School report harassment and dehumanization. But little action has been taken. Economic disparities. Black families earn around $26,880, which is less than half of the $63,507 earned by white families in Racine. Racine is consistently ranked among the worst cities for people of color, particularly African Americans. 4. Naperville, Illinois. In 2019, black patrons at Buffalo Wild Wings were asked to move to a different table because a white patron felt uncomfortable sitting next to them. In 2020, a woman called Naperville's Asian residents roving carpetbaggers during a council meeting. And to make a disparities, black residents in Naperville live below the poverty line at nearly 3 times the rate of white residents. Research findings, studies by North Central College show that Naperville is a sundown town with policies stifling businesses owned by people of color. Hooray! Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Survey results, a survey by Suffolk University showed that 80% of black respondents rated Milwaukee's race relations as fair or poor, while most white respondents rated them as excellent or good. Segregation. Milwaukee is the second most segregated city between black and white populations in America. Racial disparities, high rates of maternal and infant mortality, educational inequalities, and high levels of unemployment among black residents. Harrison, Arkansas. Harrison, once a sundown town where black people faced death if they were out after dusk, still has a racist reputation. Modern-day KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, is headquartered in nearby Zinc, Arkansas. Racial composition, 94.13% of Harrison's residents are white, with nearly 100% of the 8 black residents living below the poverty line. Controversial billboards. Billboards in Harrison promote white pride and anti-racist sentiments as anti-white. Recent efforts. The Harrison government is working with the Harrison Community Task Force on race relations to address the city's racist past. 1. Waterloo, Iowa. In 2018, a study ranked Waterloo as the worst city for black Americans, with the largest social and economic disparities along racial lines. The black unemployment rate in Waterloo is over 5 times the white unemployment rate. 73.2% of white residents own homes, but only 32.8% of black residents do. Recent incidents. In 2021, derogatory terms were used against black players on the Waterloo East High School girls basketball team during a game. And then, despite some efforts to address these disparities, racism continues to be a significant issue in Waterloo. Racism remains a pervasive issue in these cities, shown by hate crimes, economic inequality, and systematic discrimination. While not everyone in these cities is racist, these places continue to struggle with deeply rooted racial divides that demand urgent attention. About the 10 countries in 2025 that will pay you to live there, check out the video we made on that topic right here. Who knows? Your country could be on the list.